The Shark Deck.
Oh man, is it Christmas already? Hi, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Adam Sandler is back on tour. If you listen every day, you know how funny I find Adam Sandler. I cannot wait. 25-city tour, the I Missed You tour. And we don't have to wait long. It kicks off in Vancouver on October 12th. Adam Sandler promises surprise guest will join him. Variety says, while Adam Sandler is a much-loved screen actor, and boy, are his films fantastic. You remember, Sandler got his start as a comedian doing stand... All right. Can I tell you for real? I mentioned I host the weekly comedy thing over on the Live One app, and I program the comedy stations over there. The things that do the worst with the audience, and I mean the worst, are Adam Sandler comedy bits. Anytime I add one of them to the rotation, I run the report, and it's like people are like skipping it. They can't even sit through it, so it's not just me. Anyway, Adam Sandler's tour, October 12th, Vancouver. He's doing a lot of back-to-backs, 13th in Seattle, 14th in Portland, 15th in Nampa, Idaho, at the Ford Idaho Center Arena. Not familiar with Nampa. 16th Spokane, then a day off. Then another run, the 18th San Jose, the 19th State Line, Nevada, Fresno on the 20th, Palm Desert on the 21st, a day off, Anaheim on the 23rd, then he's taking 2 weeks off. 6 straight days. All right, seems like he's doing 6 nights, 1 off. Toronto, Rochester, New York, Washington, D.C., Milwaukee, Minneapolis, Des Moines, day off, November 15th, Indianapolis, then Memphis, little Thanksgiving break in there, then back on the road December 2nd, Vegas, Salt Lake, San Antonio, Thackerville, Oklahoma, not to be confused with Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, where he'll be the next night. Oklahoma loving Adam Sandler, apparently. Wichita on the 10th, and the final show for now, unless he adds more dates, Denver, Colorado on the 12th. I cannot wait. This next one, I was prepping the show and I was like, what? From Variety, Derek Smalls, the legendary bassist with the ultimate heavy metal band Spinal Tap. You know what that is, right? He's returned with a brutally contemporary new single called Must Crush Barbie, described as an excoriating attack on the pink sensation, the advocate of everything pink and fluffy, Barbie. The self-described embodiment of lukewater warm reaches boiling point with Small's first track in 5 years. The song is available now. Let's listen.
Big news stink. Too much pink. Oh, must crush Barbie, must crush Barbie, must crush Barbie.
Derek Smalls, Variety says, who may or may not be actor Harry Shearer, co-star of 1984's This Is Spinal Tap, in case you're not getting the joke here. Derek Smalls says, been spending the last year or so as brand ambassador for Brugelcoin, the Dutch cryptocurrency. Since it was cratering this past spring, I was following the news more than usual, which is where I got bombarded by all the Barbie BS. I don't know which angered me more, but it's really hard to write a song about crypto. But the overwhelming shroud of pinkness definitely deserved a major pricking, and that's where I came in. They also shared Derek Smalls' official biography. Derek was born 1 April, quote, hundreds of years before the dawn of history, having to endure growing up as an April Fool's baby. His father, Donald Duff Smalls, raised Derek after his mother, Dorothy, left home to join a traveling all-girls jazz band called the Hottentots. That's pretty good. While Derek had a quiet school career in his hometown of Milford on the River Knoll in the West Midlands, Duff carried on his work as a telephone handset sanitizer, working for the pioneering film in the trade Sanaphone, until it was absorbed by the former British Telecom, primarily, according to reports at the time, for its robust bill-collecting operation. There's like 7 more paragraphs of this. I'll get back to this on Sunday because I have a lot to cover today. Bill Maher getting into it with Keith Olbermann. Why? Bill Maher has decided that Real Time with Bill Maher will return despite the ongoing writer's strike. Keith Olbermann tweeted, without writers, the new weekly SCAB, all caps edition of Real Time with Bill Maher will be 83 seconds long. As somebody who's known you since 1978, F you, Bill, you selfish and unfunny, I'm trying to think of a way to clean this up. A bag that would have scum in it. You didn't really clean it up, John, did you? No, I didn't. Whatever. All right, let's just read it. F you, Bill, you selfish and unfunny scumbag. That's how Keith Olbermann probably wants that read. TV writer Jennifer Gross posted, can't wait to tell my son there won't be Christmas this year because Bill Maher and a bunch of talk show hosts who couldn't stay away from the limelight prolonged a strike that was gaining ground and are putting countless writers, actors, and crew in financial peril indefinitely. Bill Maher, in his announcement, said, it's time to bring people back to work. The writers have important issues that I sympathize with and hope they're addressed to their satisfaction, but they're not the only people with issues, problems, and concerns. He noted he will honor the spirit of the strike by not doing a monologue, desk piece, new rules, or editorial. The Writers Guild called Bill Maher's announcement disappointing and added, if he goes forward with his plan, he needs to honor more than the spirit of the strike. Bill Maher is obligated as a WGA member to follow the strike rules and not perform any writing services. It's difficult to imagine how Real Time with Bill Maher can go forward without a violation of WGA strike rules taking place. WGA will be picketing this show. Frasier is back, baby. Paramount Plus has released the official trailer for the Frasier reboot. Kelsey Grammer plays Frasier. The new series follows Frasier in the next chapter of his life, blah, 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 Boston, blah, 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 new challenges, new relationships, blah, blah, blah. I've told you about this several times. Jack Cutmore Scott plays Frasier's son, Freddie. Freddie's got some friends. Bebe Neuwirth will be back in one episode as Lilith. Frasier, Paramount Plus, October 12th in the U.S., October 13th in the rest of the world. The first 2 episodes will air back-to-back on CBS proper on October 17th. Beginning at 9:15 p.m. What's that about? There's probably a 75-minute Survivor or something. We see in the trailer, apparently Frasier's hanging around at a bar, but no, not that one where all his old friends are. It's unclear to me why he's not hanging out at the old place. He's got new friends and a new bar. Who knows? Maybe like Cliff retired and moved to Cleveland and he still loves Cliff and doesn't get to see him. Who knows? A special titled Frasier Inside the Series will air on October 7th on CBS. Giving fans a behind-the-scenes look at how the new series came together. I could do that special in 4 seconds. Money. Oh, shoot, I still have 3 seconds left. CBS is like, hey, what should we do in late night? They are going to run Comics Unleashed. That's a show hosted by Byron Allen. If you've ever been up late at night, you may have stumbled across this thing. It's not that good. That will follow repeats of Stephen Colbert beginning September 18th. That's Monday. For what the network says is a limited run, CBS will air 2 episodes per night at 12:37 in the spot formerly occupied by The Late Late Show. Comics Unleashed has aired in syndication since 2006. Byron Allen hosts a roundtable discussion with a rotating panel of comedians. Guests have included Sebastian Maniscalco, Tiffany Haddish, Gabe Iglesias, Cedric, Howie Mandel, Leslie Jones, Wayne Brady, Roy Wood Jr., Whitney Cummings, J.B. Smoove, Billy Gordell, and Margaret Cho. So that's like 12 comedians, and this thing's been on since 2006. So in 17 years, I just listed 10 comedians you've heard of. So you can stay up late Monday and watch that one. Big Mouth is also back, baby. October 20th for the premiere of the penultimate 7th season. You know Big Mouth, inspired by Nick Kroll's childhood. Big Mouth is about the glorious nightmare that is puberty. Some of the guest stars in season 7, Megan Thee Stallion, Stephanie Beatrice, Zach Galifianakis, Randall Park, Chloe Fineman, Beck Bennett, Zach Woods, Mark Duplass, Paul Scheer, John Daly, and Andy Daly. Welcome to the yucky part of today's podcast. The next 2 stories are kind of icky. I'll read them verbatim from Yahoo. Tiffany Haddish reportedly was slapped with a $1 million lawsuit at her recent show in Los Angeles on August 28th. The lawsuit was served while hosting a comedy event at the Laugh Factory on August 28th by a process server for the Girls Trip actress's former friend, Triza Morris. Morris is the mother of the 2 children who accused Haddish and fellow comedian Ari Spears of grooming them for a 2014 skit called Through a Pedophile's Eyes for the comedy site Funny or Die. Morris is suing Haddish and Spears for defamation following the aftermath of a previous lawsuit brought by her children, who were 14 and 7 at the time the skit was filmed. The teenage girl claimed that Haddish coached her on how to simulate fellatio while eating a Subway sandwich. The skit also featured Spears rubbing oil on the young boy's back and lusting after the child while looking at him through holes in a newspaper. The lawsuit was eventually dropped by the plaintiffs, but Morris, who has paid a $15,000 settlement from Spears, is claiming that the 2 comedians labeled her as an extortionist. Can read more about that story on Yahoo. And from the AV Club, I'll also read this verbatim. Rick and Morty creator Justin Roiland is now facing accusations of using his fame to coerce young women and teens into sex. NBC News' Kat Tanbarge published text messages and social media DMs between Roiland and his various accusers in a revealing and disturbing report that includes accusations of sexual assault, grooming, and coercion. Roiland has denied the charges through his lawyer, saying the allegations were false and defamatory. You can go on the AV Club, and they've got some of the text messages. I choose not to go there or read any of them. Let's do something more fun and pop on over to Gossip Corner from KOIN. Will Ferrell was in Portland again on September 9th. He was catching the soccer. Timbers 2, LAFC 0. Will's one of the owners of LAFC. He probably wasn't happy. Gossip Corner KOIN tells us after the game, Will Ferrell was seen performing a mostly unscheduled stand-up set at the McMenamins Wranglers Annex in Southwest Portland. McMenamins employee Megan told KOIN that Will performed about 10 minutes of material. Now, what's a mostly unscheduled stand-up set? Is that Will might come by sometime between midnight and midnight? I don't know what that is. Morgan, the employee, said, "We're pretty close to the stadium, and Will Ferrell walked in earlier that day to grab a drink. He noticed that we had comedy that night and asked if we'd be able to stop in for a quick stand-up set. Ah, that's why it's sort of scheduled. Got it. We let him know we couldn't make any promises." Really? Who was possibly performing? Hey, can Will Ferrell get 10 minutes? No, I'm sorry. Johnny Bananas and Crash Caragliano are performing tonight. We don't have any time for Will Ferrell. I'm sorry. Mr. Chappelle, Rock, and Seinfeld won't make any time for... That could actually be the lineup. You could have actually had Seinfeld, Rock, and Chappelle, and if Will Ferrell shows up and goes, "Can I do 10?" They're all going to go, "Yeah, of course." I mean, what are we talking about? We let him know we couldn't make any promises, but we couldn't see how our host would ever say no. You think? We weren't entirely sure he would come through, but after about 15 minutes, our comedy started, and he walked in. Tim Dillon has kicked off a tour. By the way, I've mentioned I really like Tim Dillon's podcast, and someday Tim Dillon's going to step on a landmine. I'm going to deny I ever said that. On a recent episode, he had on a politician. I'm not even going to tell you who it is because the point isn't the politician's politics. It's just, hey, Tim, man, I love you, but you're not Joe Rogan. Just when you do your thing where you just monologue and make fun of the news, when you're sitting down with a politician having a pretty serious interview, what are you doing? Don't do that. Tim Dillon, the American Royalty Tour, kicks off tonight. Charlotte. Then he'll hit Lexington, Cincinnati, Davenport, Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa. Comedy hotbed out there. Omaha, Wheatland, California, Sacramento, I guess, Rochester, Munhall, Pennsylvania, Detroit, and December 9th, Toronto's Meridian Hall. Nikki Glazer continues the Good Girl Tour. That started back in January, but we have some new dates. She's in Chicago tonight at the Chicago Theater. Fantastic venue. Then off to Peoria, Englewood, New Jersey, over by me. Prior Lake, Minnesota, Calgary, Napa, Wheatland again, San Francisco, San Diego, Milwaukee, Riverside, Iowa, Lawrence, Kansas, which I always think of, remember the day after? That's what I always think of when I hear Lawrence, Kansas. Boston, Baltimore, Rehoboth Beach, maybe she'll see the president there. Atlantic City, Portland, Rama, Ontario, at the Casino Rama. Love it. Munhall, Pennsylvania. Wow, Munhall, Pennsylvania getting everybody. Detroit and Denver on New Year's Eve. Brittany Carney is taping a special on Sunday at King's Comedy Club in Raleigh. She's a writer on Audible's upcoming podcast, Networking for Introverts with Aparna Nancherla. And controversial Father Ted co-creator Grant Linehan was out performing again. He's going to write a book about his TV career and recent notoriety as critic of the trans right movement. Tough Crowd is the name of the book. It'll chart his life since his sitcom success. He did a set the other night and was given a standing ovation by parts of the audience. That's funny. But it was only his 8th gig, and it showed. He initially fumbled with the mic. He was doing a bit about Frankenstein, and he stopped it when he realized it wasn't going well. A chunk of the crowd left when Linehan finished, so it was clear where they come from. But apparently, he hasn't really put together a cohesive live set. And then headliner Andrew Lawrence had to go on. That sucks. Oh, sorry, Andrew. And that's your comedy news for today. Follow the show for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your shows. Thanks to DraftKings for supporting today's show. And I'm going to go sit on Ticketmaster and get Adam Sandler tickets, right? No.